strategy of the Office of T.S. Mitchell Financial, LLC, your independent and trusted wealth manager, specializing in insurance, investments, financial planning, all for your financial planning needs. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, the information that we share here on Power Over Tomorrow is for the sole purpose of education and not for the solicitation or promotion of any particular securities or investments. Remember, securities and investments do have risk, and unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. So please continue to hit us up on tsmitchell.com. Continue to hit us up on Facebook and Twitter regarding your personal financial matters. And we will definitely do the best we can, do all that we can to get you an educated point of view so that you can make educated decisions concerning your family, your future, and your finances. There's one decision that I'm glad some have made, and that is to support this program. And our sponsors are Zelina Health, Wellness, and Fitness, Paper to Film Production, Revolution Mills and Renovations, Meet My Types Matchmaking, Blend to Blend Juice Bar Boutique, Urban Grandstand Digital, and New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. Big kudos to all of our sponsors that make Power Over Tomorrow and all the shows that we have here on Source Radio Network available to you in this platform. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know, there is a lot going on in the financial industry. There's a lot going on overall. But what we want to talk about today is something that I call a checkup from the neck up. That's right, a checkup from the neck up. And what do I mean by that? In other words, we're talking about this. You know, Scriptures tells us the way a man thinketh, so is he. So we can think one way, but not only do we must think it, but we must put ourselves in a position to be able to implement it, monitor it, and grow it as we think that positive way. So when we're thinking of our finances, you know, we have to sometimes take those lemons and make lemonade. We have to, take, and for some folks, take those prunes and make some prune juice. All right, because some folks need to clean themselves out when it comes to getting their monies in the proper place. All right. I don't want to get y'all all crazy now. But the point is that we're going to talk about money, as we always do here on Power Over Tomorrow. But we want to speak about it in a way that you can take some information and make efforts, and not just effort. Let me correct that, and make trail and make those things that you've been working hard for come to fruition. But it takes a plan. It takes a plan. It takes a course of action, and it takes making the first step. So we're going to talk about a checkup from the neck up, because some of us have stinking thinking when it comes to our money. So we need to get that money in a place where it's a sweet smelling aroma. And we have to also consider this. Put ourselves in a position to where when those emergencies come, and they will come, but when they come, we need an emergency fund. So Source Nation, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about today here on Power Over Tomorrow, a checkup from the neck up, reviewing your budgets and your emergency funds. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. You're listening live to Power Over Tomorrow with our resident financial advisor, Tyrone Mitchell. Source Radio Network is just one of the many platforms that is used to fulfill dreams of our listeners and create a purpose that will impact the lives of our communities,
take a quick break. And then we're going to be back in, I would say, about 5-10 minutes. All right? So just continue to watch, continue to hold on. We'll take a break, but we'll be right back.
Translate words that haven't been heard and paint pictures that no one has seen. Source Radio Network is fueling your life's purpose. How can you listen? www.blogtalkradio.com/Source Radio.
With me is T.S. Mitchell, the independent and trusted financial advisor. T.S., how long have you been doing this?
I started my practice in 1984 when I was 19. I saw something happening and I wanted to make a difference.
You've helped a lot of families over the years. How do you do it?
Well, the first thing I try to do is build a relationship. I find out where you are, what are your goals, and where do you plan to be. From there, we try to design a plan that will help you reach your goals efficiently and economically too.
Do you need to have a lot of income to work with T.S. Mitchell Financial?
Well, if you can save $1.50 a day, then we can talk.
Appointments are available at 1201 Hampton Street, downtown Columbia. Online at tsmitchell.com and 803-744-3417. That's 803-744-3417.
me live to Power Over Tomorrow with our resident financial advisor, Tyrone Mitchell.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Power Over Tomorrow. Hold up, just 1 second. Hold on. I got to do something. I got to hit this button right here. Yeah, let's see if it works. 3, 2, 1. Yep, there it is. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? You can also see us live on Facebook. Hey, who said a brother can't walk and chew gum at the same time? That's right. Hey, this is T.S. Mitchell coming to you live from Power Over Tomorrow. For those who've been listening, welcome back. And also remember, we're streaming live on YouTube. Hey, we got it going on. I tell you, behind every successful man is an exhausted woman. And I tell you, my producer is making sure she keep everything on tack. Oh, listen here. The song we just heard was by Wanda Monet, and she was singing, "Give Me One More Chance." Give me one more chance. You know what? And that reminds me of a title from a spiritual song that says, you know, give me just one more day, dear Lord. Just one more day. One day at a time, sweet Jesus. That's all I ask of you. You know, when it comes to our finances, there are times where we make decisions that may not necessarily be in our best interest. And we say, if I just can make it through this time, I'll get it right. And, you know, and we're constantly going back and forth like that. How many of us have done that? You know, we say during the holiday season, I'm not going to spend all that money on toys. And I'm not going to spend all that money, you know, and all this stuff. And then as soon as the holiday season comes, bam, we're right back there. Okay, we may not be running to the stores like we used to, but hey, we'll run into the online stores, clicking, click, bringing out our card and slapping it on the computer and taking your account numbers and putting it on hopefully secured websites and ordering things. I tell you, we've kept a lot of people, and I'm not just saying me, I'm saying we in general, have kept a lot of people employed at Federal Express, UPS, and even the United States Postal Service. That's right. The same institution or the same organization that has been crying they're going bankrupt, and there's no money. The same organization is talking about going into the, get this, banking business. Wow. And that's something we need to talk about. If we get a chance to talk about it today, then fine. But I definitely want to hear from you. You know, we're talking about today, here on Power Over Tomorrow, a checkup from where? The neck up. And the checkup from the neck up, meaning what? Is that we have to improve our thinking when it comes to how we handle our money. We have to improve our thinking because, hey, as we see, things are changing to the point where it makes your head spin. And if your head is spinning, trying to keep up with all the tax law changes, the tax reforms, the financial institutions that are doing right, and those financial institutions that are appearing before Congress and getting not $100 fines or $1,000 fines, but $1 billion fines. So what does that tell you? They make enough money that say, hey, we'll pay the fine and stay in business. Tell you. So what is it that we can do, the everyday person, when it comes to our money? Well, the first thing that we must do is remember, as it says in the scriptures, Deuteronomy 8:18. Remember the Lord your God, for it is He that gives you the ability to make wealth. It is He. There are times where, we get a nice windfall or some money comes in and we say, well, I'll take care of the Lord. The Lord knows my heart. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Scripture says, yeah, He knows your heart is wicked and evil. All right. So let's get something straight now, okay? We must continue. We must continue to look upon things as a blessing. It is. We are stewards in charge of handling things that we've been blessed with. You may not have the job that you want, but it's a blessing that you have a job. You may not live where you want to live. All right, when you're watching the shows of all these unreality shows, talking about housewives and even the spoofs of Real Husbands, all that stuff, and you sit back and you're spending your time watching the lives and of other folks. What is that getting you? Sometimes it gets you upset and figuring out, I should be having this, I should have that. It's the way you think of things. And then moving from that point, then we have to say, okay, we know that tomorrow is not promised. And we may not know what the future holds, but we should espouse to understanding who holds the future. When we set aside things such as an emergency fund. Well, what do you mean emergency fund? Well, what does that mean? Well, look here. An emergency fund is this. Mama always said there'll be days like this. There'll be days like this, Mama said. And what does she mean by that? What she meant to say is this. Either you are in a storm now, you either have come out of a storm, or you are headed for a storm. That's called life. For my students, my young folks who are graduating high school or who are going into college or graduating college, you are now coming to a point where you have to deal with life. Deal with it. I love my sons and sometimes I say, well, Dad, what about this? What about that? I said, okay, think about how would you work this out? As a father, you want, especially when you're dealing with your boys, is that you want them to be able to figure out solutions and handle things as a man, handle it as a man. But then mom comes along, but you got to have compassion, all right? You got to think things out, but you know what? That's why a husband and wife is needed in a home. And I mean that, not just what I mean, but that's God's plan. A husband and a wife, because there has to be a balance. If a young man grows up, and even young ladies too. Now I'm just talking. In this point, I'm speaking mankind. All right, as in a race of people, and not just a gender. But when a young man grows up, he is not well-rounded and doesn't have a balance in his life, he will make decisions that can hurt him for a long period of time. And one of the things that typically hurt us the most when we are faced with real life situations is how we understand and use money. The one thing, have you noticed that? It took money to bring you in this world. Oh, correct. Let me get this right. It took money to get you out of the hospital when you came in this world. And it's going to take money to put you in the ground when you leave in this world. And all in the middle, it took money. So when we thinking about a checkup from the neck up, we got to get back to the roots of things. I know some of you thinking about, he's talking about money, you're probably thinking about the songs by the OJs, for the love of money. And then some folks may even be thinking about the song, ain't nothing going on but the rent. Got to have a J-O-B if you want to be with me. Some folks may even be thinking about the song, I think it was by Jimmy Spicer. Y'all remember back in high school? I think also in junior high. Dollar bill, y'all, dollar bill, y'all. Yeah, some of y'all remember those songs. You may even be thinking about the song, Cream Always Rise to the Top. And you may be thinking about the song, Cash Rules Everything Around Me. Cream, dollar bill, y'all. You know, so what is it that makes us think about money so much? You know why? Because it affords us a lifestyle that we want to live or that we are living. And we want good things in life. There's nothing wrong with money. Nothing wrong with it. For even when the OJs sung the song, if you listen carefully, they tell you, according to as it is written in the scriptures, for the love of money is the root of all evil. The love of money. And what we're saying is that when we love money and use people, we got it wrong. When we love people and use money, we have it right. So we have to change and develop and promote the proper way of thinking when it comes to handling the resources that God has blessed us with. Now, many folks have talked about and asked the question, when is a good time to start planning? When you have the opportunity. And the opportunities do not come and knock on your door. Sometimes you got to kick the door down. Sometimes you have to make opportunities where they don't exist. Someone once said that bread is the mother of the airplane. What? Bread is the mother of the airplane. Or what it means is this. Necessity is the mother of invention. Necessity is the mother of invention. When you see a need, you find a way, you invent a way to satisfy that need. Yes, you do. When we think of the financial or the internet or all the inventions and social media aspects that are coming about, folks see the need and develop a way to get it to the people. I've done the same thing. We see a need of financial literacy. Folks are not being taught. People are not being taught. And I'm going to say this. The financial industry or the capitalist system is not set up to educate you on how it runs. It's not. And the reason for that is because if you know how it runs, you will make better decisions on how you run your money. See, what they depend on is that you find yourself subjected to commercials that tell you to spend, spend, spend. What they are hoping is that you find yourself always trying to keep up with the Joneses, all right? Or always spending more as a consumer. That's the capitalistic system. Now, when we understand the system, we can better work within it. But all too often is that folks don't understand it. We send our children to school on the grade school level from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. And we tell them we put them through the system to prepare them for what? To prepare them to be productive citizens in society. But what is the one thing that they do not promote? Now, I know there's quite a few of them, but the one major thing that is not being promoted is financial literacy. At an early age, in the early grades, you have charts with a picture of a penny, a nickel, a dime, a quarter, and you use that to simulate math equations. Oh, yes, okay, that's fine, that's fine. But what about understanding it at a deeper level? You don't do that. And so when our children get their first job or when they go into college, and even nowadays, credit card companies are not waiting for the child to go to college. They're hitting them in high school, especially if they turn 18 years old while still in the 12th grade. Hopefully they're in the 12th grade, okay? But what we're dealing with is that we have to prepare our minds for understanding. So when Wanda Monet sung that song, Just Give Me One More Chance, well, yeah, we need one more chance. But is it better? Isn't it better to get it right from the beginning? But if we can't by chance get it right from the beginning, let's take the opportunity to do a checkup. Well, here's this. It says every year about 140 million households file their tax returns. All right. This process, what we typically go through during that period of time, is that we dig through boxes, folders, putting together receipts, gathering mortgage information, retirement information, investment statements, and we sit down and we put this stuff in the computer, and we try and take advantage of every tax break that we can. But what happens after that? After the tax preparation, we typically go right back into the same old system. What I'm saying is this: the effort that you put through to get your taxes situated, or if you filed an extension and you may be still working on your taxes now, well, the things that you're doing now continue throughout the year. And the reason for that is then when it comes to the following year, you will be in a better position. You also may consider this. Consider this now, is that as you are putting things together, create categories. In other words, start dividing your expenses into what we call useful categories. Categories such as your expenses for your home, expenses for your automobiles, your food, your household, your any debt that you may have, your clothes, entertainment, charity. Put those things in order. Develop files, develop folders. You know that they're going to come each and every month. You're going to get a hold on a second. I have some. Wait right there. Hold on. What I do? I thought I didn't get rid of them. Oh, here they are. See, I know they wasn't too far away. This stuff right here. That's right. Even financial advisors still have some bills to pay. All right, now there's a whole stack of them there. This is on a monthly basis. Do y'all have some of these? Let me ask you, do you have some of these? I know you may. If you got lights on in your house, that's one of them. If you got a car outside, that's two of them. Some of y'all have two cars, right? To double that up. If you have children, that's about 8 of them, all right? Because you got to pay for the food, the school, the sports, the instruments, all that stuff. This stuff comes on a monthly basis. So what you do? You get yourself some folders. I got a stack of folders back there. And you start putting them in categories. Each and every month, you open it up and you start filing it and putting it out. And I know some folks may say, you have too much month at the end of the money. All right, but here it is. That's why it takes planning. It takes budgeting. Because what you're going to do is you're going to look at how you're spending your money. You're going to look at 2 categories, discretionary and non-discretionary. Now, discretionary are those things that you can basically do without if you have to. Case in point, what is discretionary? Something that is you can make a decision on. You don't have to spend as much. All right? Now, I like suits. I can decide on whether or not I want to have a custom-made suit or have a suit off a rack and tapered or tailored. All right? I can do that. I'm still wearing a suit, but I can decide on how much I want to spend for that suit. And I don't have to buy a suit every day or buy a suit every month. So in other words, that's discretionary. One thing that may not be discretionary, something like your mortgage. If you have a fixed mortgage, you know that mortgage comes every month at the same amount at the same time. All right? When that mortgage comes, that money has to be there. That is non-discretionary. You have to set money aside for that. Other things that may fall into the non-discretionary category, and this is a big one now. Some folks may not think so, but I'm telling you it is so. Your life insurance. Life insurance is a non-discretionary item. All too often when people come up against some financial restraints or financial restraints, the first thing they think about, well, I can wait, I can pay my life insurance later. That's foolish. That is. Because if you already know you can't determine how long you're going to live, why are you going to let go of the one thing that helps provide for your family? Think about it. Now, what you can say is this: I can cut the cable off, don't have to watch cable for a month, so I get my money back and get myself right and go from there. You know, he's over, oh, no. You know, it's basketball playoffs, or it's the NFL season. I got the package. You look here. If you don't get your money right, you're going to be packing up, all right? Here's the point now. When we think about discretionary and non-discretionary items, we want to keep and put things in the proper perspective. Now, I've heard this said about the current administration, especially when the November 2016 elections were done. And they started seeing how things were working. Here's what I would hear all the time: follow the money. If you want to know the decisions that the administration is going to make, they said, follow the money. So if we are watching others and saying for them to follow the money as to how they run the government, it also behooves us to follow the money when it comes to how we manage what God has blessed us with. You know, we need to go through all the receipts and statements that we gather when it came time to prepare our taxes and get a better understanding of them. All right? Go through your receipts. Never, ever allow your statements to come in and then stay there unopened. You know how much money is lost because of unopened statements? Millions of dollars, if not billions. And what happens at the bottom of that statement, they always have this disclaimer: if there are any inaccuracies, to some degree, it must be worded, you have X number of days to report it so we can correct it. So typically it's what? Within one billing cycle, 30 days. So if you don't open up your monthly statements and you let it sit there for 2 months or so, guess what? When you open it, now you're going to go back and say, hey, wait a minute, you overcharged me. And they're going to say, well, you know, the time has elapsed. Then it becomes their discretion as to whether or not they will give you credit for it. When you allow that to happen, you're giving people control over your money. Stop giving people control over your life. Stop giving them the control over your money. God put that money in your hands and requires you to be the steward of the things that he blessed you with. Now, on their side, if they decide not to, to give you a credit, to some degree, think about this now. God gave them a job to make decisions for their business, whether it's their own business or they're working for someone, all right, gave them the decision or the job to make the decision. They are acting in good stewards when they determine whether or not you can get credit for something that you did not pick up on months down the road. So it's important. It's important to follow your money. You want to be specific as possible when you're looking at your statements. Why is this occurring? Why is that occurring? One of the many places that we often overlook when it comes to following our money is the money we spend on cell phones. Yes, indeed. Cell phones. Have you ever opened up your statement and looked at the number of charges that are in there? I get on the phone right now with my cell provider, and many times we go through it. And they said, "Is that we value you as a customer? Is there anything else we can help you with?" I said, "Yes, I got another question." And I said, "What about this item here? Can you explain that?" And let me tell you, I've saved a lot of money just by doing that. Yes, I have. I come to find out there was one time I was being charged for an account that I had closed months before. And I looked at it and I said, "Well, I closed this." And when you call these companies, on the back of that statement, write down, this is what I recommend you do. Write down the date and the time, and if you can get the person's name, if they have an ID number, write it down. And when you finish, also put a summary. It doesn't have to be, a thesis statement, but just a quick summary of what you discussed, all right, and what's going to be the end result. Write that down so that way when you go back and say, "Hey, I said this and this is what was supposed to be," it wasn't done. Now when you call and say, "I called on this day at this time, spoke to this person, and this is what was supposed to have been done. It has not been done. I want this matter corrected, and I want it retroactive from the day that I've called." Now, if by chance they may get on the phone and say, "Well, our records don't show that," then you say, "Well, listen, I cannot speak for how you handle or do not handle your data entry. But I will say this. This is my record. This is what I talked about. And you have a record of me calling. Now, if the person that I spoke to didn't do their job, then we need to escalate this to the next, to a higher level." All right? You're just handling your business. You're following your money. All right? So I'm not saying take it out on the person, but just let them know you mean business when it comes to your money. All right? Another thing that I would say when it comes to having a checkup from the neck up is that you want to project your expenses forward. Project them forward. That is a key factor. That way you're not sitting back and saying, "Oh, wow, I didn't know this was going to happen." Project it forward. I do this with my children. Sometimes they come up with, Dad, dude, you got this and you got that. So I started getting, I said, "Look here. You have X number of trips coming up for school. And, now we're coming at the end of the school year. All right, you got these things coming up. If you need me to address them, write it down. Write it down. Put it on my calendar. Write it down." And why is that? So that way they will get accustomed to putting the information down and seeing it and projecting that expense forward and working to prepare for it. So that way there is not a surprise. Listen, I don't like surprises when it's to my detriment. But if y'all want to throw me a surprise party, a belated birthday party, go ahead. I'll have a good time. But because that's not to my detriment, that's to my excitement. All right. But hey, when we project our expenses forward, we are putting ourselves in a better opportunity to grow our money. You're doing that because it's important to have a key hold, a sound hold. All right, a sound hold. Scriptures also tell us that God didn't give us what? The spirit of fear. But he gave us what? The spirit of a sound mind. And what's that sound mind? Well, it is something that is sealed. It is something that cannot be penetrated. All right, it's not porous, but what it is sound. And when it hits, it hits and it's heavy because it's filled with something solid. Your mind needs to be filled with things that are solid, and not things that are frivolous. Spending your time watching the lifestyles of other folks being rich and famous does not do anything for your pocketbook. So what do we have to do? We have to spend time, such as what you're doing right now. Understanding, watching, listening, learning. Power Over Tomorrow talks about that. Why is that? Because we have time today to plan for tomorrow. And we've once been told what? Knowledge is power. So when we say power over tomorrow, you gather the knowledge now so that you can move forward with your life and your legacy that you leave behind. So what do we say? We said what? Creates some categories. All right, when you're filing your paperwork. All right, follow your money. Project your expenses forward. Oh, and here's one. Determine your expected income. Determine your expected income. And when you determine your income, what I mean by determining your income is that you're going to put your money in a place that you can see if it's growing. Case in point, you have investments that generate income. All right. You have your W-2. You have an opportunity to work in other areas. You have an opportunity to work overtime. So you can basically project what your income is going to be. And many of those who are self-employed have to do that on a regular basis because you have to file what? Quarterly, what we call expected income tax. All right, so you file those things because you're expecting to make X number of dollars. It's good to do that. That's budgeting. That's what we call a proficient budget. You're doing that because now you're knowing what type of money you need to work with. So that way, if there is something that occurs where you have less money than you expected, you can make a sound decision without having to be caught behind what we call the 8 ball. And if you find yourself making more money than you expected, well, it gives you an opportunity to move some things aside and develop the second thing that we're talking about today, and that's called your emergency fund. We need to constantly think about what it means to develop an emergency fund. Why do we need an emergency fund? Because we have this thing called life. And life comes to us in a way that some or you find yourself in a situation where that you have like folks are spending money they don't have to buy things they don't need to impress folks they don't like. Well, sometimes throughout the rest of the year, sometimes we're just living life and opportunities or situations come where we have to have money. And then oftentimes what people do is they find themselves going on and using their credit cards because they may not have had enough cash assets set aside or liquid assets set aside. So when we're using credit cards as our emergency fund, we are sometimes, robbing from Peter to pay Paul. And eventually the interest rates continue to catch up. The average credit card debt that is held by an American family, and when I say average, you have both extremes now, both sides of the spectrum. But the average credit card debt is $26,000. And I'm not talking about car loans, student loans, and all the other stuff, but the average credit card debt is $26,000. In the financial area, we speak to people about doing one thing: saving at least 6 months worth of income. And when we try and save at least 6 months worth of income, we're basically saying that if we should become disabled, we will have some money to help cover our expenses until possibly Social Security or other forms of benefits will kick in. That's the nature for saving that amount of money for that period of time. But many of us don't have that. Right now, we are living, from paycheck to paycheck. We're trying to do better with what we have. We're trying to many times live up to the reputation that we've built in our community. Oh, look at them, that family over there, they're this and they're that. Oh man, we know they got it. All right. And we find ourselves trying to live up to that, not knowing that we're going into deeper in debt. Let me share this with you. I was coming from a business meeting not too long ago, about a couple of weeks ago. And on the way home, it was late and I haven't eaten all day. So I said, let me stop and just get something to eat. So while I'm standing there ready to place my order, a gentleman was talking to the proprietor of the restaurant. And he wanted to talk about, they had a house, but this is what he said. When the market crashed, that's why we couldn't afford the house. That's not why you couldn't afford the house. Regardless of what the market does. The housing market dropped. That didn't mean you couldn't afford the house because you had the mortgage. When you took out that mortgage, you're supposed to have planned according to your income, according to your debt to income ratio. But what was happening during that period of time, people bought too much house and put down too little money. And then they were thinking, okay, well, you know what? All I got to do is just pay the interest. And you never pay the principal. Guess what? You were just skimming the icing off the cake. Now, think about this. You got a birthday cake. And if somebody always come by and, and swipe off the icing on your cake, you'll get mad. But if they came by and you said, man, have a piece of the cake, and you would cut them a nice piece and give them some icing and some cake. Well, when all folks were doing was just paying the interest on those exotic mortgages, all right? It was just like just swiping icing off the cake. They didn't get to the cake. So when the cake went flat, or when the cake went stale, everything was spoiled. So they never really planned properly. So I'm listening to this guy say, because of the market, this is what happened. I'm saying to myself, you're fooling yourself. You are fooling yourself. And when we do not plan according to sound biblical principles, we are fooling ourselves. Plan according to biblical principles. Don't live beyond your means. This is all simple financial planning. And we talked a little bit earlier about discretionary and non-discretionary. You know what? Sometimes you got to understand, and understand this too now. Sometimes you have to understand that sacrifice is needed. And when sacrifice is needed, there's another element to that. As Gideon found out, obedience is better than sacrifice. So sacrifice is needed, but greater than just sacrifice, obedience is better than sacrifice. Because when we follow obediently, when it comes to sound biblical principles, when it comes to managing our finances, we make the proper sacrifices that are needed. It takes sacrifice to not buy that dream house on your first time out. And what do you sacrifice? Sometimes you got to sacrifice our own pride. Sometimes, let me say that sounds so good, I got to say it again. Sometimes we must sacrifice our own pride so that way we can be in a better position down the road. It's very important. So today, here on Power Over Tomorrow, the issue that we wanted to discuss today was what? A checkup from the neck up. Understanding our budgets and making the emergency funds. We said our budgets are needed to keep us as sound stewards of what we've been blessed with. Emergency funds are needed because life is going to change. And when life changes, we need to be able to make those sound adjustments without having to find ourselves deeper in debt for the things we could have handled if we had handled what we've been giving in a more perfect way. I've been giving a certain amount of time to share Power Over Tomorrow with you, and I enjoyed that time. And I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I definitely want to continue hearing from you. Continue to look us up and hit us up on social media. Remember, our website is tsmitchell.com. And on our website, you can link up with our financial and our social web pages, such as Facebook. You know, we're on TS Mitchell Financial, and also on Power Over Tomorrow on Facebook. We want to hear from you on YouTube. Make your comments on our videos. On YouTube is TS Mitchell Financial. And of course, Twitter. Twitter is always there. And Twitter is TS Mitchell Power. Those are the things that we wanted to share with you and bring with you because of the fact we love you. And we want to know that you're doing better with the things that you've been blessed with. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my time has come to its allotted end. But I will say this. Continue to send us your questions, your comments, and your concerns here on Power Over Tomorrow, and we'll do everything that we can to help get you sound information so that you can make an educated decision concerning your family, your future, and your finances. Remember this, ladies and gentlemen, in your walk of life, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind forever be at your back. May the sun shine upon you with his warmth, and may the rain fall upon you ever so gently. Until the next time when we can cross each other's path, may the God of heaven hold you in the hollow of his hands. I am Tyrone T.S. Mitchell. This has been Power Over Tomorrow. Source Nation, Facebook Live, YouTube friends, all be well, be blessed, and be your best.
We'll be back, Source Radio Network, after this commercial break. This program is brought to you by Paper to Film, Revolution Mills, Scott Cares Foundation, and Urban Grandstand Digital. With me is T.S. Mitchell, the independent and trusted financial advisor. Here's the situation, T.S. Someone has just lost their job and they are concerned about their retirement plan. How can you help them?
Well, first, if at all possible, please do not take a cash distribution. The taxes and penalties could make that money the most expensive money you will ever use. At T.S. Mitchell Financial, we have over 20 years experience helping people with retirement and 401k plans.
So you truly help people.
Yes, our goal is to provide sound financial information for your family, your future, and your finances.
Appointments are available at 1201 Hampton Street, downtown Columbia. Online at tsmitchell.com and 803-744-3417. That's
Thank you so much.
803-744-3417. Securities offered through Cetera Financial Specialists LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cetera Investment Advisors LLC. Cetera entities are under